Did you make a move? I bet you did. I bet you did. You think you're slick, think you're cool, but you're a fool. You better listen to me. Listen to me. I have a feeling you don't wanna know what she'll do to you. Oh, she's always right. You think you got away with it. You think you got away with it. You think you got away with it. You think you got away with it.
Hello, everyone. Put in one in the chat if you can hear your girl Eve before we get started. Welcome, welcome in. Even the lurkers watching from the bushes or the thorny bushes or the angry bushes. Welcome in. Hit that like button. Won't cost you a thing. It's free and it won't out you. Might as well while you're here. Great. I see the ones. Awesome. Let me say hi to everybody as I always do. Before we get started, hello, Shani, Queen Quesarasara. I probably butchered that, but welcome in. FAFO, welcome. Miss Rubug, good to see you. Matthew is silly AF. Good to see you, love. Maria, she's back for more. Who are the right people? This is before the live started, and I said, well, that was J.D. Huff's statement. Literally. And that was on my thumbnail, if you weren't aware. That's where the quote's from. So I don't know what he meant by that. But welcome in, everybody. Glad to see you. Was Sarah charged? Lauren Mathias stating so. Yes. Yes, she has been charged, but she has not been arraigned yet, as far as that I know. It would probably be a good idea to see if these charges were posted, which I doubt. But if they were posted in the iCourt portal, why don't we find out? I doubt they are, Nope, they're not. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, as you can see on my screen, obviously, we're going to be attacking the alleged false confession. And why are we doing that? Well, speaking of Lauren Mathias, she has a history of taking false confessions, and before it's decided that someone is guilty and running with that narrative. And I'm specifically talking about the Delphi case with Richard Allen. So it's very ironic that here we are again. She's making videos recently about he confessed. The thumbnail is so PR. It's just on point. Confessed. Because confessions, obviously, to everyone out there watching these fools, mean absolute guilt. And that is far from the truth. Far from the truth. So, how do I know that? Well, 25% of convictions are overturned when a false conviction due to a false confession is involved. And what happens of those 25 convictions? 95% are obtained by coerced plea deals. Oh my. Well, we'll get into that with this probable cause because it gives us a little insight as to what was, going on with this confession, alleged confession that Michael was in the backyard, Michael Vaughan, which is what this live is pertaining to, okay? And other things. It's not just about the case, it's also about what happens to people like Stacey and Sarah and Brandon and Adrian who aren't the normal everyday average Joe. Their cranium might work a little differently than the average person, right? And it's amazing to me that I noticed that right off the bat. And then the families that I spoke to, family members, confirmed that. So that's just wild to me that, being a family member myself of someone who is a little different, I immediately went, oh no, this doesn't look good. And then boy, did we find out what went on behind the scenes with the leaked footage from the Washington County Jail. We're going to get into breaking that down and what the implications are for that and Michael Vaughan's justice if this goes to trial. We're going to talk about what the prosecutor of Payette County could have done, or maybe they didn't need to. We don't know the motive, but they definitely say that, Payette County and Fruitland PD, we are not responsible for that leaked footage coming out. We are not responsible. However, depending on the motive of if they wanted it sealed or not, or wanted it leaked or not, is the question, which will absolutely be brought up by at least Stacey Wondra, right? That's his words, not mine. So I kind of understand why. It's a big slap in the face to see that you are persecuted publicly, no matter guilt or not, does not matter at this point. Because that's all about what the jury thinks. But you can't go running out there exposing a case file item of Michael Vaughan's justice, which is the charges against Stacey and Sarah Wondra, which we have first-degree murder, which is punishable by death if they choose to do so, and second-degree kidnapping, and then destruction or concealment of evidence, okay? So I'm no lawyer, I am no legal professional. Everything that I say is based on opinion, and you should take these things with caution and verify them for yourself if you have questions. So I just have to state that alleged. What I say is alleged. But I don't have to be a legal professional to be affected by what professionals do, which is lawyers, to protect their client if you're a defendant, right? So because we're all in this world and we all share experiences, you don't have to be a professional to see what may be coming. And that's where this live comes in today. All right. So attacking the false confession, 25% of convictions are overturned from a false confession, 95% obtained by coerced plea deals. And this happens within 16 hours of being interrogated. Nonstop, more or less. And it could be, every day for a week. It could be 16 hours straight. It could be a lot of different things. But what this is saying is this is the average time it takes to get that. And I love the fact that there are studies out there showing not only does this happen to people, And it could be more than 25%. They're estimating that it'll go up, or it should be more like 30 to 35%, because some people are still waiting for their, appeals, what have you. And some people die before they can get to that chance. So they averaged it all out, and this is what we're working with. And this is scary. This is absolutely terrifying to know that people are executed potentially when they are, in fact, innocent. It has happened. So you can't say that it's not possible. The real question is probability and what state you live in and how they roll there, And if you're rich or not, let's just be honest. If you don't have any money and you're indigent and you're using a public defender, bless you. If you're truly innocent, oh, bless you. You're going to have a hard time. Unless the media picks it up, But if you got money, like O.J. Simpson did, Karen Reed, those kind of people, you have a better chance, right? So that's why I think that it's more important to talk about, cases that have little hope for, the truth to really come out. And I feel like this case has always been that. It's always been a stifling of truth and just finger pointing and, smear campaigning, leaking information behind the scenes to people that exploit it. It's very, very sad. So I'm going to do my very damnedest to make sure that that is offset just a little, even if it's a smidget. I think that would be the right thing to do in my shoes. That's just me. We cannot pretend this does not happen. We cannot. I believe that that's what happened to Richard Allen. You really need to look into that, guys. I have been so wrapped up in this case that I haven't had a chance to see the new dropped Delphi docs, as we call them. It's very alarming what they did to Richard Allen. Oh my goodness, y'all. The man was beaten in that prison in Indiana. So that's something to definitely check out when you have time. And if I can cover it, I promise I will try. But things are moving kind of fierce in this case with Michael Vaughan. So that's what we're going to focus on. Payette County does roll on some bullshit sometimes, I will admit. I mean, I just released a video 2 days ago about how Payette County hid information from being FOIA'd or even known about to the public for a jailer at the Payette County Sheriff's Office for inappropriately sexually assaulting a pregnant 22-year-old inmate. Oh my God. And this, these things have happened over time in Payette County. Not exactly like that, but this has been a problem in their county for a while. Things like that. Fruitland PD in 2020, there was a police officer that was convicted of crimes against children. So that's only 5 years ago. And it was right under their nose and they had no idea, apparently. And it made a blurb, just made a little blip on the local news. The mayors can't keep a mayor to save your life in Payette County. My goodness, I don't know what they're doing. I know that they just voted in the recent elections for a mayor, because I don't think they had one for a few days or so, something like that. But my goodness, what's going on in Payette County? And I'm working on getting more information to you guys about that, especially the locals who watch me, because I know that you're affected by this. Okay. So the first thing that I just want to quickly go over, I took a little screenshot of the probable cause affidavit that I got that everyone was up in arms about because, let's face it, I got it first. And I put it out first. And they're mad about it. Too bad. So the defendant is alleged to have committed the following crimes between the dates of approximately July 27, 2021 through 2025. That is a 4-year range. And I know that they're meaning specifically about the destruction of concealment or evidence. And of course, if you've been watching and following my lives in the past few days, they said that Sarah had the potential because she was out of prison at that time when Stacey was not, which was about July onward in 2022, or maybe even June. So she had the potential to conceal or destruct evidence, aka hiding Michael, moving Michael. That was the affiant of this probable cause, who is Detective Juanita Keller, said that. And I think that is not evidence, but maybe they have something we just don't know about. Maybe we do not know what they actually have. But still, you want to put at least a few strong things in here because, in my opinion only, this probable cause is full of hearsay, speculation, assumptions, inferences. And if they can't tie that together with evidence that a jury can reasonably believe beyond a reasonable doubt that this happened, all right, we're going to have issues, right? So that's what I wanted to just kind of go over real quick. Okay, Shani, thank you. Money talks, that's right. That's right. So attacking the false confession. First of all, not a lot of people know how the courts or the appeal courts treat a false confession. But the public defender's offices in some of the states and nationwide have made, these nonprofits or these organizations to help combat some of the rise in false confessions that they're seeing. And so they're, getting donations to get these studies done using reputable universities that have amazing guidelines so that there's no bias or big variances, things like that. And Dr. John Mathias, who recently talked about this on the live that Lauren Mathias did on Hidden True Crime, it's very strange to me that I'm not seeing that kind of ethical procedure being applied to what Stacey is saying. Because remember, the thumbnail said confessed in big words. Oh boy. Like, nail in the coffin, he confessed, it's a wrap. And everybody who's commenting on my latest lives and videos want me to just take the word of everyone that believes they're guilty, because apparently that's how they think the courts work. They think that you're guilty. And you just have to. Why do we have juries? Skip the trial, just put him in the slammy. Fry him. Which is what they would love. But that's not how it works. So it's very easy to just finger point and exploit people and exploit pain from the family, especially the siblings more than anybody else, because they matter the most. They have to live through this, and now they're going to have to live through this trial. And I hope that doesn't destroy them. I really mean that. My family has been a victim, if you will, although we don't call ourselves that, of a family member who has been murdered. And I'm not trying to exploit that at all. I'm trying to explain that I am empathetic and understand 100% that when you feel like someone done it, and you're going to do anything you can for a loved one, like my grandmother being murdered and the police literally covering that up, or, charging him and then dropping it and going, well, let's move on. Election time's coming up. We don't want this bad blood on our city and county, I need to win this election, which is what happened to my grandmother. Murdered while sleeping and reading the Bible, shot twice in the chest. It's not a pleasant feeling to know that because who we believe, without a doubt, 100%, murdered my grandmother, he's dead now. There's no justice. There's no justice. And I have family members who have to see his family members in our small town today and look them in the eye and say nothing. But they look at us and know damn well that's what happened. And again, I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm trying to explain to you guys who are watching that this is my motive from a deep sense of concern. A lot of people think that I want to simp for these 4 suspects that I should automatically assume is guilty and go with the flow of things because that's the right thing to do for the families. And I disagree. Okay, I disagree with that. If I see what my family knows happens, it's okay to have a different perspective on things. And wouldn't you want the most thorough justice served for Michael Joseph Vaughan? I would. I think everybody else would too. So moving on from that, sorry I don't have anybody to interview and exploit and shame anybody that has been either charged or will be charged with poor Michael Vaughan's disappearance, or kidnapping and alleged murder and hiding him. But what we can talk about is what I'm seeing will be a problem, be a huge problem. And instead of getting ahead of it, I think that it should be called out before it does, because the way the outcome is and who did it and who's involved, there's going to be some issues. And I'm trying to be vague, so that probably didn't make sense. But basically what I'm trying to say is every move made after charging documents and a warrant has been served on someone, things are being documented, watched, scrutinized, looked at. Everyone involved surrounding Michael Vaughan's immediate life will be documented. They should tell you that, absolutely tell you that, because the defense attorneys will have a job to do. And the defendant also has a right to a fair trial, and they also have a right to face their accuser and the witnesses that are accusing them, more or less, in the courts. Everything is scrutinized. So from the moment that not indictment, because the grand jury didn't indict them, which is very strange that failed allegedly so many times against these people. That's scary, guys. First, that's the first red flag, okay? And then the second red flag is how soon law enforcement gave the prosecutor the case. That was kind of odd. And I don't know if that was strategic in having them help build a stronger case for the prosecutor. They did it in the Summer Wells case. But I think once you do that, there, in my opinion only, I'm no professional again, you run the risk of trying to fit your square peg of a case of what you think happened as law enforcement into a round hole that the prosecutor needs to apply. And that will be scrutinized. Everything will be scrutinized. Everything will be, requested. Discovery for a defendant although it can be suppressed, some things can be suppressed, it could also be appealed. And that just means delays after delays. And this high profile case, this will be the biggest case trial to watch. I will tell you that. And depending on if they're going to let cameras in or not, this will not be just your short, sweet, simple trial. This will be broadcasted for the world to see. This is not going to be an easy task for not only the public defender and the defendant, but the witnesses and the professionals that are going to have to come in and testify. This is a bigger deal than I think people realize out there, who knew things way before even the suspects knew they were being served a warrant. Okay? Red flag number one, big problem, big. If someone is being fed charging paper information and they're not a witness necessarily, but not a co-defendant in that, and they sell everything, and then they're sharing that information out to others to publicly smear campaign the defendant and co-defendants. Oh boy, I would watch what you do. I've seen some lives recently from Clutch My Pearls, or AKA, I call them Clutch My Cash App because money's rolling. Putting away a few lives done and videos done, and all of a sudden you only have just a few here and there. That is very interesting, I'm pretty sure. It's too late. They're already downloaded and stuff. I mean, the internet's forever. Everything's being scrutinized. Everything. So just be careful out there. All right, ramble over 28 minutes. Sorry about that, but I think that was very important to go over. So the first things first, we're going to look at some of the false confession statistics quickly, and then we're going to listen to Stacey Wondra's confession, alleged confession, post-confession, whatever you want to call it. And if you're a fan of Chris McDonough, that is wonderful. I once was a huge fan. I still listen here and there. I'm not an avid pro Chris McDonough, the interview room fan right now. Probably won't be going forward, but do not take offense if I throw a little shade here and there, because there is things that I know and things that I will share with you that are out there publicly for the world to see, and I have every right to scrutinize that as much as I want to. It's the First Amendment after all. So if you're a fan, please, stay and listen. You don't have to change your mind about that person. You don't have to talk crap about them. Just listen as objectively as you can. Don't attack, the messenger here, because I am just putting out what has factually happened and comparing it to what this case and his involvement has exposed, I guess. So just bear with me. No hatefulness. It's silly. Give me just a moment to pull that up. I'm going to check in my chat while that loads. Evidence. Just evidence. You got to have the evidence. That is right. I don't feel there will be a fair trial with all of these tubers against any other possible theory. There's been too much leaked information that plays against said suspects. Well, and on the other flip side to that, guys, there are also lots of leaked recordings, including me doing so, even though they were known about before I even came around. So on the flip side, there are going to be things that maybe won't be put into evidence, perhaps because I or others put that information out. So it's a flip. It just depends. It depends on the judge. It depends on the attorneys, the ability to argue in court. It just depends, right? But it goes both ways. A tit for tat, if you will, of the mother talking about investigative stuff to ladies she trusted, right? And no matter how, or the motive or whatever of said recordings and stuff, I don't think for a minute that police didn't already have that, or especially the FBI. The FBI definitely did before they were leaked. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is it's the battle of the trial on each side, and we'll see how it goes. Sometimes prosecutors and public defenders will work it out. Well, since that was leaked and that was leaked, let's just call it a day. Or, hey, all of it comes in. Fair game. We don't know. It just depends. East Idaho News, Nate Eaton said he'd come to cover a trial. So, yeah, it'll be big. I'm hoping that my media company, it's not a company, not like an Inc., but I do business as, ePro Media. And so hopefully that will get me into, I'm probably not even going to need it, to be honest with you. It doesn't matter if I have access or not, because I'm probably going to have access for a lot of different reasons. That's for another day. We'll see how that goes. But we should all want this holistic investigative angle approach for every child, woman, and man of alleged criminal interest and suspicion. Thank you, Eve. Thank you, Ellie B. You've always been kind, and I love your positivity. I really appreciate you, and I thank you. Because no matter how long the investigation would be, you want the correct person found. Right. So, I'm sorry, I think this is loading, or loaded. Let me check. Here we go. NACDL. I just went to the website because the PDF did not load in my Stream Labs. Okay, so what is the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers? What we do. Let's just go run down the basics here. So this is the NACDL's Foundation for Criminal Justice and is on the front line of criminal legal reform. They support comprehensive studies on issues within public defense and efforts towards solving disparities across the criminal justice system and provides access to resources for defense lawyers. Not always will the defendant have the means or the access to those resources, but the next best thing is defense lawyers having access to that. Idaho recently implemented in 2024 a public defender, like a state public defenders who runs all of the districts now. And I think they did that because, first of all, oh my God, Idaho has one of the worst over-incarcerated, overcrowded issues. They don't have enough public defenders and prosecutors sometimes in certain counties. They're under budget, understaffed, running in the red, have to take people from other counties and even states sometimes who can practice law in Idaho to get a case through. And I think that it's because of the rules, just my honest opinion from what I'm seeing, the rules that these big wigs in the judicial system in Idaho are fucking it up. They really are. They're just not comprehending certain things that are making this harder. But hey, public defenders, that's the number one place that is a good start to get some reform here, because it's bad. It's really bad. So October 2nd, 2025, happy first birthday to the state public defenders. So real quick before we jump into that NACDL, you can, if you ever get in a bind and need to speak to someone, a public defender, you can select your county or district, which Payette would be 3rd Judicial District. And who runs that? I believe is Isaiah something. I believe. The offices for the 3rd District Administrative Judge, Thomas Whitney, as we saw on the other live where he was making rules lately, and Trial Court Administrator Benita Miller are located in Caldwell. So 3rd Judicial District, folks, that's your information for certain questions about legislation, stuff like that, and rules and things. For specific judicial and court information for each county, you can click on this link here, and it'll give you judges' names, their assistants, the magistrate judges, all that stuff. Just something to know, something to have if you need it. Isaiah Govia is the 3rd District Public Defender. He manages the contract for the public defenders in the 3rd District. And then Eric Ellis is the managing public defender for Canyon County, and he has been mentioned in some commissioner meetings in Payette, so I'm wondering if he might come around in this trial potentially, because they're going to need a lot of help if they go for the death penalty, which is a high bar to meet, and that PCA is, in my opinion, not going to do it. So their mission is to serve as a leader alongside diverse coalitions in identifying and reforming flaws and inequalities in the criminal legal system and readdressing systemic racism, and ensuring that its members and others in the criminal defense bar are fully equipped to serve all accused persons at the highest level. Perfect. All right. So let's learn some things. Stay informed. Conspiracy. So they break it down on this website. Zoom in for my blind baddies. Shout out. Policy priorities, conspiracy, death penalty, discovery, drug law. They have all these breakdowns. Grand jury, overcriminalization, 4th Amendment. Oh, that's a big one here, in my opinion. Recording interrogations. All these things is right here. They do have a blog and podcast that I love listening to. I don't think they have much going on lately, but it's still good. It's called The Criminal Docket. Love it. Love it. Love it. The latest episode, they interview a lot of criminal defense attorneys, and they are excellent at advocating. So, an awesome, awesome organization. So let's look at eyewitness identification regarding this probable cause. According to the Innocence Project, approximately 69% of the more than 375 DNA-based exonerations nationwide in the last, 10 years? No, I'm wrong. 20 years. I'm so sorry. 30 years. I'm going to count it. Oh, Lord. And I'm not mathing right now. 30 years. Involved mistaken eyewitness identifications. Wow. 69% of those exonerations nationwide, guys, had mistaken eyewitness identifications. Well, let's look at the probable cause of Stacey Wondra, which is the same as Sarah Wondra. So I'm going to just say Stacey and Sarah. Were the eyewitnesses, the neighbors? The neighbors report on Southwest 9th Street, some of the neighbors saw Michael either on his street or around his home and the neighboring homes to the left on the corner. And what else do we have? He also knocked on some of his neighbors' doors, attempting to play with neighbors or in their yards. And he was told to return home by all of the neighbors he contacted. Now, I will just spit this out quickly that one of the neighbors did post on Facebook, and she actually did a quick shout out to the family, on the family's behalf. But she did post on Facebook that Michael was at her home the night before. The dogs did not come to her house, aka they didn't alert to her house. Okay, but he was in her yard. That's what she was told, and this was day 2 or 3. But the dogs did not alert in her mind, or to her opinion. Okay, maybe she didn't see it all. Maybe she doesn't know what that means. But that is something that was said. So the very left neighbor of Michael Vaughan's house, somebody allegedly saw Michael in his yard, and this said neighbor, who was the husband, said, you need to go back home, and watched him walk to the mailbox. This is per Brandy Neal. And that was that. And then he went to the store, the grocery store. Do we know what time exactly? Not really. It was always after 6:30. Why? Well, because Tyler, the father, said Michael was playing on his Nintendo Switch. He saw him. He went out to smoke, do the things, order the pizza at 6:40, comes back. He's not outside. Okay. Then goes and searches. Okay. They were investigated, meaning the neighbors on Southwest 9th Street and the families, and they have determined that there was no evidence that they knew or know where Michael is and what happened to him. Paraphrasing. Let's go to the eyewitness of Kim Elko, since it's already out there. Kim Elko Mack would later report to law enforcement that she had seen the tricycle in the spring of 2021. Oh no. We don't even know in this probable cause affidavit if the tricycle actually belongs to either the family, one of the kids. Do we know if Michael, in fact, was riding on this thing? There's only one witness that says that's what he was doing, but we don't know really if that was the tricycle, right? Not yet, anyway. So there's a lot of questions, and this probable cause confuses me to no end because it's not fluid at all. But this person said, oh, I saw during a yard sale before Michael went missing, because spring of 2021 here would be March, April, or May. It was May, I believe, from what I found out. And Miss Elko was able to describe this layout of the garage. It would be amazing to know when she later reported this, because we don't know if the media helped her memory after seeing the leaked footage from Washington County that was obtained by Clutch Them Pearls, through the request of the mother, who would be a witness in this trial. And no matter how Clutch My Cash App got this footage, okay, there were ways that in my opinion, and from what I'm researching here, there were ways that the prosecutor could have or may have been able to tell Washington County, please don't release that, as it is an exemption to this rule and that rule. And if they said, tough titties, Mike Duke, stuff it. We don't listen to pay it. We're Washington County. Then he would go to the judge, a magistrate judge, and get that exemption enforced. Totally can happen. And I will tell you how. Let me pull up my research here on my phone. I'm just going to read it really quickly. It's called the Public Record Laws Manual by the Office of the Attorney General, published in July of 2025. And I compared it to the 2024 and 3 and 2 Public Records Law Manual. This did not change about what I'm talking about. It did not change. They didn't update anything. So, what Payette County would have done after knowing about this footage being in their possession at the Washington County Jail, and I think that's in Weezer, right? I'm pretty sure. What Mike Duke could have done, in my opinion, is assert that records exemption with them specifically, with Washington County, and say, hey, withhold this, fail to release this, okay? Or file an emergency court relief called a TRO, an injunction, that supports the affidavits showing the release. This being released would materially interfere with the enforcement proceedings, not trial. Nobody was charged yet. This is about investigative things because it was still an active investigation, and to my knowledge, it still is to this day in regards to finding Michael. All you would have to do is file it with affidavits showing that this release would harm or interfere with the investigation. But what did Mike Duke and J.D. Huff say? We're not responsible. None of us over here in this county are responsible for what happened over there. So I don't know if that was already done. But they were notified by Clutch Them Pearls, per a live that he did. One moment, and I'll pull that up for you because I think it's important to show those receipts. Those receipts are crucial. One moment, and thank you, and shout out to my mod who did that. Much love to you. Thank you. One sec. I just got these earlier, so give me a second. But basically, while I'm pulling that up, Clutch said, I called the Fruitland PD. There's old Cash App Clutcher. I called the Fruitland PD and all that, and I'm like, you guys sent me some stuff, and I don't really think that should be out there. You know, and they were like, well, thank you for telling us. Well, we can't really do anything, you know. It's already sent more or less. Oh, okay. Well, damn. Told him, do what you must. We fucked up. Although they're not responsible. Oh, okay. Are you sure? Did you file that? Because they are right. Once it's out there, I mean, what do? Once it's obtainable or obtained, you're kind of shit out of luck over there. But why was it? It's either two things. You didn't do the due diligence as the prosecutor to prevent that from happening, or you wanted it to. But there's implications either way because the defendant who that would be used against, that information that should have been under wraps, is now being prejudiced by public scrutiny. And even though that doesn't really cover pre-charging of an indictment or a charge against you, it can affect the probable cause, depending on how well his public defender or their public defender will fight for them. There's ways. It's rare, but it does, cause some issues. And there have been high-profile missing children's cases in the U.S. that have been dismissed entirely against a defendant for this. Huge. and I believe it was a released jail confession where it was pretty clear that the police officers used a tactic that was not appropriate at all, coercion, blackmail, and all of that stuff. And oh boy, that man was let go. Thank God. Thank God he was actually not involved in it. But could you imagine that being dismissed? Could you imagine him actually committing a murder of a child and he got away scot-free, double jeopardy? No more trial. I mean, that's the fear, I guess, that I have because of the personal experience, right? So that's sad. You made the decision based on a witness, a major, crucial, number one witness in this alleged upcoming trial. And it's a problem, in my opinion. Or it could be nothing. Maybe that this was kind of worked out deal. I doubt it. But that's a problem. So going back to the eyewitnesses, Kim Elko saw this tricycle in their garage, depending on when she saw or triggered that memory, and called law enforcement and said, I seen that tricycle. It was in the spring of 2021. I remember it like it was yesterday. But if it was after that leaked footage came out, oh no. Oh boy. What if this leaked footage somehow doesn't make it into the courts? No matter what the prosecutor can tell someone, a witness, that, oh, don't worry about it, it's okay, or we worked it out. Go ahead and put it out there, which I highly doubt because that's an ethical violation from my understanding. Oh, big one. This testimony could be crap too and couldn't come in. Do you see the implication of the domino effect of just that alone? Which this is faulty in itself. Eyewitnesses, even though they are damning and have convicted people of crimes, just eyewitnesses alone, it's still questionable. There's no specific date. Did they prove that she was at this garage? Did they go after her? Maybe there was data that they pulled from the satellites for the cell phone pings, and they saw Kim there in May, and maybe she was there the day before Michael went missing, and they were like, hey, what do you know? Oh, shit. And they show her a tricycle picture. Oh, that looks familiar. Yeah. And then, she saw this leaked footage already. You see what I'm saying? It could be a lot of things, and that's just a hypothetical. That's alleged. I just think that there's problems with this. Big win. When did she see it? Really? It would have to have been May of 2021, unless there was a garage sale they forgot about earlier than that. But I do know that all three close people who would know about this garage sale said May of 2021. Did somebody buy this tricycle at the garage sale after May of 2021 or whenever it was sold and they just can't remember ever having it in their garage? I don't know. Maybe there is footage or a picture of said tricycle in their garage at that time that they showed Stacey, perhaps, as he said they did. Maybe, in fact, it's true. Did they sell it? Did they sell it to a neighbor in that subdivision of Hidden Meadows or Crestview, aka Cornwall Way, and then Southwest 8th or Southwest 9th neighbor had it? We don't know. We'll have to see, right? Did they ever sell it? Who obtained it if they did? The described stack of boxes was still there during a later search warrant of the Wondra residence, which in the garage. And the reason why I think the affiant, the detective, put that in there is because that was described in the leaked footage, which we will go over here momentarily. We're going to go over it. So if you have somewhere to be, I suggest coming back because it's going to be a little bit of a long live today. Or I can break it up into 2. It doesn't matter. But we're going over it. So this is very odd. And that's going to be scrutinized. Definitely Dorothy Starkey's eyewitness testimony of seeing Michael Vaughan on a big wheel tricycle. Did she say pink? Let me see. Just a big wheel tricycle on the corner of Red Wing and Meadowlark 2 days later. I would like to know, Dorothy, if Dorothy was in the Wandra's home that day, who, had access to not only the Wandra's taxi business, driving taxis for them, but also the house. She was definitely living with them around before and sometimes after Michael Vaughan went missing. She had access to that home, Dorothy. And so did the other, Carson, her husband or ex-husband. And he did taxis for them too. So that's going to be a big one. That's going to hurt. Especially since, they did not, the suspects did not come home, minus Adrian, did not return until 11:30 at night. But if there's proof that someone was there in the backyard, perhaps, let's say anywhere between 8:30 to 9:47 to maybe 10 something, perhaps, in the backyard near the fence line where they said to dig. Uh-oh. Who was that? Who was it? All right. She's the only one that allegedly saw Michael, not on his street. And that's a problem. Why would it only be one? I mean, I do remember hearing a recording one day of every 30 to 45 seconds, there is a car entering or exiting the neighborhood on average, per the detective, the affiant here, told this to the mother. I would love to know if that's true. We'll see. Okay, video surveillance, which is the best eyewitness you can get, right? Was gathered from the security cameras and they did not capture Michael. So if you take away all of these eyewitnesses, which would never happen, but if you did, boy, there's nothing. It only establishes a sort of timeline, and depending on how well their memory serves them, and if in fact there might be footage of something, they didn't say that there wasn't footage, that it just didn't pick up Michael on that street. Allegedly, maybe 906 has a camera, I don't know. But anyway, all of these things are going to be scrutinized in depth. Especially people who are probably going to talk about Sarah's mental health issues and weird religion-based craziness and social media presence. All right. That's really all the eyewitness testimony besides the pink tricycle, aka Sarah's mother, who tells me absolutely it was before Michael went missing. It was absolutely at the end of Southwest 8th, going down that road past Three Rivers Way into the farmland a little bit, deep in a thorny tree, like it was strategic. This tricycle was there. And scent allegedly tracked there. Michael sent it. But that's very strange that Kay is absolutely convinced, knows without a doubt, that it was before Michael went missing. It wasn't on that day, wasn't after. Okay. and she does not remember seeing it in the garage ever. She shared that it's her home that Sarah and Stacey lived in. She only lives 4 houses away. She could walk right on in anytime she wanted to. So she would know. She shared the garage allegedly with these people. So she was familiar, okay? The bushes that Kay described are near where the Three Rivers Way, Mr. Smith says he found the tricycle after searches were done and after Michael's abduction. During these searches, he takes this damn thing. I'm going to use the wheels, I guess, for a project, and then, no, I'm not, and puts it behind the bluff sign near the end of the road of Southwest 8th and Three Rivers meet. Very strange to me. I do not understand that. But he found the tricycle just after Michael's abduction. Kay said that would be the reason her DNA would be on the tricycle, and she's not wrong. Because she picked it up out of the bushes and put it at the edge of the street. So what they're trying to say is Kay's lying. Mr. Smith's not lying. Mr. Smith is refuting Kay's story, which is ironic that now I understand why these vulture tragedy pimps are saying things like, stop covering for Sarah Kay. They knew, allegedly, potentially, things that not even the charging complaint had. Or the evidence wasn't even put to the courts yet. Maybe the grand jury. Maybe there's a leaker somewhere out there. I don't know. Probably it is Fayette County. They talk. But Mr. Smith can't be wrong or ill-motived. Just Kay. That's going to be scrutinized. Kay said that after all of that effort, she left it at the intersection of Three Rivers Way. After all of that effort sounds like something the affiant is putting in her, speaking for Kay. I don't think that that's right, but she left it at the intersection of Three Rivers Way and Southwest 8th Street. The bushes were very difficult to get to. Now, another thing that's going to be scrutinized here is, what if they were in the bushes, like Kay said, and she's telling the truth, but let's just say it was the day before Michael went missing. Just speculation station here. What if it was? And then she moves it back, and then whoever this is, whoever put it there in the first place, let's say a predator, puts it in the deeper section of the thorny bushes, which is further down. You can't even see it. You can't even see where this tricycle would have been. It's so deep. And I'm hoping that they find a little metadata of this deep, deep, bushy, thorny place that is very difficult to get to if somebody, their cell phone pings. I hope you find that. If they do, really hope you do. That would be amazing. So, what if it was true that Kay was telling the truth and Mr. Smith was? And the real perp who planted this thing, or tried to get the child, any child, to come and grab the tricycle, what if they were like, dang it, they keep touching it? Or maybe that's what they wanted. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is none of this makes a lick of sense. And just because Mr. Smith says it doesn't mean Kay's wrong. Two things can be true simultaneously. It doesn't refute shit to me, but I don't know what she's talking about. The affiant. I don't know what she's trying to say here. We'll see. Ellie B says, it's my understanding that stated video was obtained and withheld from public for several months and then released after the alleged confession. That's very questionable. No. From my understanding, that video was obtained in the spring of 2023. It was the same time that, Stacey had an assault charge while in jail. I think it was around Thanksgiving of 2022, because people were getting wind of what was happening in the jail, and somebody pissed him off and was making fun of him and calling him all these names, and he just, there's a video of it, Clutch My Balls has it, where he whacks the guy in the face or punches him dead ass in the face while the guy's sitting there. And that's what they were looking for, that and they did get that information. But somehow Washington said, whoops, here's the leaked footage of his, whole ass post-confession. Whoopsie daisy, oh no. So Washington County is going to have to answer to that, probably with a voir dire, meaning we need to see why this was released and who fucked it up. Because if it was Washington County, just making an oopsie daisy is probably not going to come in. Maybe. I could be wrong. I'm not a professional. But if it was the police or the prosecutor, rather, that did that, oh no. That's even worse. That's a due diligence problem and an amendment problem that could be appealed, no doubt. And that's what the appellate courts love, is failure to do procedure properly for a fair trial, which everyone is entitled to, in my opinion. It was released after Brandy stated she spoke to Mike Duke and saw documents, allegedly. Well, before she saw, yeah. I would argue about the seeing documents. I mean, witnesses are allowed to see certain things, but only after, not before. Legally, on paper, it's supposed to be after they have been filed with the courts. And we don't even know if this has been filed previous and sealed. We don't know what Mike Duke's been doing. So it could have been totally legit. There could be another case number and then they canceled it and we'll never know. That's why I made the video of Mike Duke not telling the news why he did not unseal that for the public to see, with that jailer sexually assaulting and harassing an inmate. That's why I put that out there, because there's obviously a problem with transparency and sneaky shit in Payette County. There's a tort claim because of this, of what I just spoke about. A tort claim. I think it was either $300,000 out of the tax payers of Payette County are going to contribute to that, no matter if they have a policy, insurance policy to cover some of that. You're still paying for it, and you should know and be outraged that this happened. It should be blasted everywhere. But it only came out in October. This shit happened earlier this year. At the same time, the witness, the biggest witness of this case, is being fed information before it's even filed. Now, there could be an explanation to that, but I guarantee you it's going to be asked and talked about. So I just hope that that does not muck things up for Michael's justice. I really don't want that to happen. That's also suspicious because she is the one who gave it out to be released. And maybe that's what they knew. I'm not in the mind of them, but then the creator and others didn't say a peep about that video for months. And remember, some people who know this case, like the drama part of it, which I had to step away from, like YouTube, for a while, because first of all, family first. I love my children and I enjoy being present. And I felt myself slipping with the drama, so I stepped away, rightfully so, and I'm glad I did it and don't regret it. But it also created this shitstorm of just free-range chickens balking at everything and making mountains out of molehills and lying and contacting. I mean, they just kind of got away scot-free with everything. And then there was a message from the mother there are certain creators on here that are doing this and that, and you need to stop. And I'm like, I know it ain't me. It ain't me because I haven't been here. I just got back. I just got back. So it wasn't me. I don't know who that was for. But there was pretty much like a slap on the wrist, like, no, no. And I bet you it was Crime Lines and Lies, to be honest with you. That's who I think it is, because there was a falling out there, which does not surprise me because there's a lot of lies if you read between the lines in this crime community. What did they know and when did they know it? Who is your daddy and what does he do? I agree. All right, moving on. What else? Is there any other eyewitness? Oh, yeah. Well, it's not really eyewitness. It's hearsay witness, which is Sarah's previous adoptive mother, and they talked about things, and she's writing it down, and apparently Sarah says, no, she misunderstood what I said. That's not an eyewitness necessarily, but it's refuting, what was said, not what was seen. So what else? I think that's it. I think that is it. All right. So the eyewitness banana stuff, there's a high risk of error. High risk of error. So this organization supports changes in eyewitness procedures that are proven to increase the reliability of eyewitness testimony without impeding police investigations. Among the most important reforms is the adoption double-blind sequential lineup procedures in which suspects are shown one by one to the witness. Yeah, that's a horrible, yeah. This reduces the possibility of the witness picking the person who looks most like the culprit. Because damn the luck if, let's say you're Richard Allen in Indiana, and the bridge guy is alleged to be 5'9", and he's 5'4", but he looks very close to bridge guy, but they never got the 5'11" guy. Line up a bunch of 5'4", 5 feet 4 inch guys. Oh shit. So I see what they're saying. That's cool. That's really cool. I like that. They're trying to prevent the errors and issues, which helps the appellate courts not be so crowded. Let's see. Well, good for them. I'm glad, because eyewitnesses really are the most damning evidence, but the most weak, in my opinion only. What else do they do? What else? Learn. Oh, sorry. Stay informed. Death penalty. Because it's a potential. Oh, this is just about the theories of death penalty. I don't care about that today. Discovery. That's perfect. Because if they're really charging these people, and they're basing so much on Stacey Wondra's confession, which is the bulk of this PCA, boy, that footage is, if that doesn't come in, we have problems. So discovery rules that leave defendants in the dark about the evidence against them undermines fairness and due process and increase the risk of wrongful convictions. Criminal discovery, which is evidence, can be divided into two categories: disclosure of so-called exculpatory evidence that is constitutionally required under the Supreme Court's Brady opinion, meaning if it can clear up a claim of any kind of guilt that the prosecution's putting on, the prosecution must give it to the defendant. Absolutely must. If you hide it, oh no. So 2, disclosure that is required by statute or court rule, and that changes by state and county sometimes, or district. There is a great variation among jurisdictions regarding the amount of discovery required by the statute rule and even the Brady decision. And there's federal models. I know that just from reading federal opinions all day, because I'm a nerd. So, yep. That's great. They work on some pretty good stuff. Now, the next one and the last one, I promise, is Fourth Amendment privacy. This Fourth Amendment remains a vibrant protection against, encroachments on the privacy of individuals through litigation and public advocacy. The Fourth Amendment is the appropriate starting point for assessing the limits on government intrusion. Payette, screaming at you right now, into one's privacy, and its protections must continue to thrive in the digital age. So, what is the Fourth Amendment? Protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures and requires a warrant based on probable cause to be issued for most searches and seizures. Okay? I think I saw one more. I'm sorry. One more. Just one. Recording interrogations. I guess they're very pro. I would hope that they are pro recording everything. You should record everything. If you're going to sentence someone to a potential death sentence, record the damn interrogation, record everything. That's the least you could do as a law enforcement officer, is and invest in that alleged conviction you're trying to help give. Jesus. It's 2025. Come on, y'all. Ask your county or state police officers out there, law enforcement, for the damn body cam footage or body cam cameras, and keep fighting for it. Why would someone confess to a crime they didn't commit? Ding, 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 ding. The Innocence Project states that more than 1 out of 4 people wrongfully convicted but later exonerated by DNA evidence made a false confession or incriminating statement. I'm so glad that I remembered to go here because this was the last one I wanted to do. This can be due to real or perceived intimidation. Oh, perceived. Threat or use of force from law enforcement, the use of deceitful interrogation techniques, looking at you, Chris Medina, or compromised reasoning ability by the accused. Say what? Say what? Let's read that one more time. Or compromised reasoning ability by the accused. Oh. Remember when I did a video, some of you that know me, I did a video about people who were born with fetal alcohol syndrome who have lifelong effects. It's irreversible damage to some who are affected by this. They did a whole study on people who suffered with effects from fetal alcohol syndrome. And this compromised reasoning ability, they are almost the highest risk when it comes to mental disabilities or effects from this. And guess what? Stacey Wondra has been diagnosed with having. Not only was he born with it, that's established. And he'll have the health records to confirm that. I've seen him. But also the implications of the lifelong effects of that. And how long he was untreated for after birth. Remember, this was the 80s. This was barely scratching the surface. So, there you go. There's also going to be more than likely evidence of what they had to do to fight for Stacey, meaning his adoptive mother, on getting somewhat of a justice for what happened to him. So, I'm sure she'll be a witness no matter what. So too bad for you. And I say that with a poo-poo because I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan at all. A videotape recording of a statement from a start to finish of an arrest interrogation and subsequent confession provides the most objective means for evaluating what occurred during the interrogation. Right? Check, check. That's what we have here. But damn it, it was leaked just too early. That's the problem, potentially. So, a few years ago, the DOJ outlined new policies relative to electronic recording. They're encouraging the electronic recording during custodial interrogations. While we cannot be sure that this letter was the catalyst for those policies, the new policy is a significant step for the DOJ and sends an important message to others that do not currently record. Now, we do know that the recording was not because of Chris Madonna. It wasn't because of the detectives. When that leaked footage came out, it was the body cam footage of the either jailer or whoever worked at Washington County Jail or Sheriff's Office had on them. So we don't know if there's actual recording of these interrogations being alleged against Stacey for however long. It would be interesting to know. I doubt it, but it would be wonderful to know. So let's see how that goes in the future. So, this is just really important stuff that they have helped create some of the legislation or at least studies. And I just think it's so cool. I really do. And I have donated to them in the past and probably will continue to do so. It's very important. It matters. Okay. Hour and 22 minutes in, I'm going to check in with chat. I'm proud of myself for not getting distracted with chat. It's been a hot minute. Her timeline is just sus. Yep. You are a good listener, Ellie B. Thank you. Go ahead and hit that like button if you're here while you're watching. You're going to hear a lot of, we have to hit harder now. After my few lives, which I just thought were really informational, they're always going to be informational based and learning. That's just how I roll. I'm a nerd like that. Boring, I know. I don't have, Brendan Shirtlift's methed out baby mama, alleged baby mama, who's allegedly pregnant again and is weaponizing this alleged baby. It's giving Turtle Boy and fake victim. But anyway, weaponizing this pregnancy against poor Brandon's mama. I'll never let you see this baby. Okay, Misty. Cool. I don't have her on panel. I'm sorry, guys. It's just not how I roll, and I never will. Sorry, it's not juicy. But when the trial comes, I just ask that you at least give me a chance when I'm covering it. Give me a chance to and see who you trust about the actual, not the Lauren Mattheuses of the YouTube streets and the clutch my cash apps. Just give me a chance. Just hear me out. After you listen to your fave, come give me a holler. Just come look. Facts over feelings and drama. That's just how I roll. That's how I was raised. I was raised right. Mama didn't raise no fool. Tell you that right now. All right. I was going to go over the body cam footage, but I think I'm just hungry enough to be getting cranky. I'm at that age where I get cranky, hangry, and it's like a devastating blow if I don't eat. So I'm actually going to just schedule another live here shortly. So just look out for that if you want to listen. We're simply going over the body cam footage of Stacey, the leaked footage, what Chief Huff said about it, and his little interview and Brandy Neal also did that along with, I think it was earlier this year. And then we're going to go over what the issues I see in relation to how this could be a really big indicator of a false confession and how I came to that conclusion personally. And then also going over the timeline after that, what he says in the probable cause, or what is stated in the probable cause versus what is on the footage. There's some errors I noticed. Ooh, no. The affiant may have not intentionally did it, but there's some conflicting information here that I'm noticing. So we're going to go over that on my next live, which will be soon. Just look out for it. It could be within 30 minutes to an hour. We'll see. Okay. Thank you for being here, everyone. I am parched. Your girl needs a drink of water before I sign off. Thank you for learning with me and giving me a chance. Hit that like button on your way out. If you're watching the replay, thank you for being here. Sorry I missed you. Hopefully I'll see you on the next live. All right, guys, you know what to say. Drink your water. Take care of yourself. Justice for Michael Vaughan, Team Michael Vaughan. And I will see you on the next live. Bye, everyone.
Did you make a move? I bet you did. I bet you did. You think you're slick, think you're cool, but you're a fool. You better listen to me. Listen to me. I have a feeling you don't wanna know what she'll do to you. Oh, she's always right. You think you got away with it. You think you got away with it. You think you got away with it. You think you got away with it.